Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now within the plastic walls of this small black box lie more than just circuit boards. This is home to happy childhood and teenage memories which are released in a sweeping wave of nostalgia every time it's turned on. The Xbox 360 wasn't perfect, and towards the end of its long life its technical weaknesses were painfully apparent. A solid 30 frames per second in games wasn't the standard, it was a luxury. But the aging specs didn't stop developers from doing their best to squeeze every last ounce of performance out of it, even if that meant making some serious visual sacrifices. 2013's Crysis 3 is a great example of this, with Crysis 2 being the first game in the series to come out on console, followed shortly by the original game as a digital-only release the same year. It was clear that Crytek's PC-melting titles could run on 7th gen consoles, though after seeing pre-release footage and screenshots, I don't think I was the only one questioning just how well the third installment would perform. In this video we're going to be taking a look back at Crysis 3 on the Xbox 360 and comparing it to the PC version, as well as figuring out what sort of hardware is needed to match or exceed the console's performance. On the Xbox, Crysis 3 runs at 1152 by 720 and targets 30 FPS. This is slightly sharper than the PlayStation 3's 1024 by 720, though the 360 version runs a bit better, especially in more intensive scenes. With that said, we're still seeing frame rates in the mid-20s a lot of the time. According to a Digital Foundry article regarding Crysis 3 at the time of its release, the game uses SMAA TX2 anti-aliasing. All in all, the Xbox 360 version of the game is certainly deserving of, or at least in the running for, the best looking 360 game, even if performance is far from perfect. Here are some still shots taken from this version of the title as well, which should hopefully escape some of the compression that this video will suffer from after exporting and uploading. It's still a very visually impressive title even today. So what sort of PC hardware do we need to match this experience, or even beat it? Maxing out Crysis 3 still requires some serious computational power, but utilising lower settings and a lower resolution will allow even modest setups to hit at least 30 frames per second. Here is my i3 3220 and HD 6670 combo. This 2-core processor, single stick RAM and once mid-range 1GB GPU aren't up to much in 2021, but they should handle Crysis 3. Achieving a similar visual quality to the Xbox on PC is as easy as selecting the low preset and opting for 720p resolution. Even then, we're getting a sharper image on the PC with better shadows, draw distances and slightly better reflections. But what about performance? Overall, the average frame rate comes back at 43, though this will vary depending on the level you're playing in the game. The 1 and 0.1% lows are also why I didn't opt for a higher quality preset, as these settings allow for any and all performance dips. For example, we still might be able to achieve a higher than 30 FPS average with medium settings, but the inevitable FPS dips would still occur and make the experience far more unpleasant in those action-intensive scenes. Low settings give us a nice balance between graphical quality and performance. But let's move on. While it's good to know that this hardware can handle Crysis 3, it's old news. Tech has moved on since the i3 and 6670 came out, and a lot of lower end hardware has been made obsolete by the introduction of AMD's APUs. The 2-core Athlon 3000G here is certainly no stranger to a good fight. It's willing to take on any game I throw at it. If we jump back into the game with our Athlon, 8GB of RAM and integrated Vega 3 graphics, then it's clear that even this offers an acceptable experience. I might even argue that it's a better experience than before, to be honest, because there are less significant frame dips. I'm using the same settings that I was before as well, so low all round with SMAA T2X anti-aliasing. If you want an Xbox 360-like experience in 2021 with Crysis 3, then the entry-level 3000G should be up to the task, even with cheap 2400MHz memory. Anyone looking to play Crysis 3 on console in 2021 should either wait for the upcoming remastered version, or play on an Xbox One or Series console via backwards compatibility. Bear in mind that the original game will still be 30 FPS even on Series X. In conclusion, one of the games that proved to be a melter of 7th gen consoles will run on entry-level hardware in 2021 at similar visual settings, and it'll offer a better performance experience too. I'm not quite sure what the point of this video was, but I've sure had fun making it and I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, leave a like on it down below, leave a dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see all of you in the next one.